Oh, hi there. I'm looking for the sound of the start of the weekend. I was told I could find it here.
Okay.
Welcome to the sound of the start of the weekend. Your weekend. It's the NTT20 Betting Show. It's sponsored by Sky Bet. It's for over 18s only. This is George. I'm Ali, and we're going to be making betting picks ahead of a skinny slate of EFL action. We've got the old 5 League 1 games, full slate League 2. We've got 2 England games, Thursday night and Sunday as well. So plenty to get stuck into for us on this pod and early next week as well, recapping it all. And make sure if you're thinking of placing a bet today, this weekend, or any time, be gamble aware, understand the risks that come with gambling. Head to gambleaware.org to brush up on them. Hey, mate.
Hi, mate.
You okay?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm well.
We've been doing this for quite a long time now, this podcast. And my processes have always remained pretty similar with the betting show in terms of how I do it and when I do it and what I used to do it. Obviously, the websites have changed over the last 7 years.
Yeah.
We've had new ones pop up and new ones and old ones disappear. But it's quite rare that my processes change. And this is going to sound like a shameless plug, but this is genuine. The first thing that's happened in a long time that makes me change my processes is now I get up my normal things, but I also get up not the top tables on NTT20.com. And I'm finding them incredibly useful for my betting show prep. So if you haven't already, if you're listening to this and you've got interest in EFL betting, we are now publishing on NTT20.com every week, not the top tables, which is the slicing and dicing of XG ratio tables and XG tables in all 3 leagues with a little write-up on each. And it's just a magnificent tool. It's so easy to use. It's so easy to sort through them. So this is an unscripted ad for our own product, I'm afraid.
And easily your best ever. You're incredible.
Well, because it's genuine.
You're an improviser.
You know?
Yeah.
Just like Borderlands 4.
You had an absolute wild one, your goal scorer Trixie, because Jake Beasley scored at 4-1. Fantastic pick, great leg of the Trixie. You had Philogene, who you said yourself, I'm hoping he's not going to be punished for that disagreement he had on the pitch.
Punished
by being removed for Jack Clark, who was removed for Jack Clark, who did score, but Philogene came on late in the game. Not ideal.
I'd love to be able to just bet on whoever plays inside left for Ipswich.
Yeah. What did I say on the Monday pod? 12 goals between them this season.
5 on.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And then unfortunate gap in the research was Paddy Madden. Great pick, but he was on loan from Chesterfield, so he wasn't allowed to play against them.
What are we going to do?
That was void. So you've come out with
maybe I should add
0.25 points profit from your 1 point stake.
Maybe I should add the rules and regulations about loan players into my betting show research. Purposes.
I would.
Yeah.
Southampton was your whatever you call it, your Acca Swerve, and they won. So you're minus 0.35 on the odd points. And I was just a straight bagel, a straight -5. Birmingham didn't beat Borough. The Eggman was not a winner. I think it was only 1 out of 4. Will Boyle didn't score for Shrews. My goal scorer Trixie also had 1 goal scorer in it in Lauren Tolai. But Devante Cole and Ryan Graydon didn't score, and I needed 2 of them for any kind of money there. So not a good week for me. Still, 4.5 points up for the season. You're up at 16 points up for the season. So both up, but I can't afford another one of those this weekend. The BTTS sixfold had 5 out of 6. It had 11 teams out of 12. For once, it was you that let us down.
Yeah.
Stoke. Coventry. Stoke didn't need
that. Cagey top of the table clash.
You, like Mark Robbins, very frustrated with Million Manhoof, just not quite brave enough at the back stick.
No, I don't blame him for that.
Not that much to aim at this weekend across a reduced docket, but sometimes that's not the worst thing in the world. What's your best bet? What's your nap?
Interesting docket, this.
Yeah.
In first look, I was like, hate it. And then I ended up having 4, and I had to whittle it down.
4 naps.
4 naps. Just like a newborn. My best bet is Grimsby Town to beat Chesterfield at even money. This feels to me like a very nice opportunity where Chesterfield are still kind of seen as being like, pre-season second favourite. It's like still just about up there in the table, maybe still quite good. I'm not sure they are very good, especially not at the moment. Looking at the last 5 game XG ratio table in League 2, only 1 team have a higher expected goals against per 90 number than Harrogate Town at 1.98, and that is Chesterfield, who are conceding 2 expected goals per 90 in their last 5 games. That is a bad record anyway. But if I had to pick the worst possible game for a team to have in League Two, when you are conceding that volume and quality of chance, it has to be Grimsby away. Because Grimsby at home are the best team in the league at getting into shot taking positions, final third entries into the box, touches in the box. They are off the charts for those, and therefore I think Grimsby should. This is like a perfect matchup for Grimsby side to be able to punish Chesterfield and consistently get into those opportunities and get those shots away. So it's kind of a really simple case for me, this one. Grimsby's form has dipped a little bit, but I do, as I've kind of said all season, it feels like their Carabao Cup run may have had something to do with that. They took the lead very early at home, away at Barrow last time out, and they should have won that game on the balance of chances. But there was nothing really in the performance to worry me too much. Obviously, with Chesterfield, that's not the case. Haven't won in the league since the 11th of October, and that 2-0 win over Salford, last seen conceding 3 against an Accrington side that I do like, but still conceding 3 at home to Accrington is a bit of a red flag, especially when you consider there was that crazy game against Colchester that they lost 6-2 as well, which just about is included in that last 5 games, which will obviously have an impact on that. But yeah, Chesterfield side that can't really defend at the moment against a Grimsby side under Artell, who are liquid going forward. Anything, even money or odds against, I would be happy to back as my best bet.
Yeah, my best bet is, I was in the lab as you were, doing all the processes, all the prep, all the research, and combination of lots of things to look at, numbers, results, form, XG, team news, tactical matchups, playing style, vibes sometimes. And one thing just kept nagging at me that wasn't really to do with many of those things, and that is kind of stancy. And I think at my very core, I believe that Port Vale, who are 23rd in League One,
this is on the list,
are a good team.
Yeah.
I think they're a good team, and I think good teams win games. If they continue to be good teams, even if they haven't won many games in the first 15 games of the season. This is not just an XG thing or a numbers thing. If you watched them play against Bolton last Saturday, you know that in the first half an hour, they were basically the better side at Bolton. And they lost 4-0, and they got Amario Cozier Dubreed, and they're not the first ones, and they won't be the last. Even the Stockport game, live on Sky the week before, they lost 3-0, and it was 3-0 at half-time, wasn't it? But, maybe I'm clutching at straws, but before Stockport take the lead, they are very competitive. It doesn't look to me like Stockport are, wildly the better side there. But great finish from Wootton, great header from Lowe. Suddenly you're 2 down, the opposition have had 2 or 3 shots. The Wimbledon game as well stands out to me. Away at Wimbledon, who were in brilliant form at the time. Port Vale, it was a 1-1 draw. Very clearly the better side in that game. Very clearly the better side in that game. Even if it was just numbers, George. Even if you didn't bother watching any football, and you did just look at the numbers, because you think that's the most important thing. They've taken the 4th most shots in League One. They're 8th for XG4. They've had the 2nd most set-piece shots, so they're a threat from set pieces, a threat from open play as well. They've got the 2nd best defensive XG numbers. They have faced the 5th fewest shots in the league. So they've taken the 4th most. They've faced the 5th fewest. Are they giving up big chances? No, their XG per shot conceded very much middle of the pack. They do not give away loads of big chances. A lot of this comes down to shot conversion, and particularly at 0-0 in games. They've only converted 5.5% of their shots this season. That is the lowest in the EFL. And I think that execution has obviously let them down at 0-0 when they've been competitive in, I think, basically every game, and sometimes dominant in some ways at 0-0. Maybe there is a confidence issue, a squad personality issue with not being able to handle the frustration of going behind when you know you've been just as good, if not better, than the oppo at 0-0. And yeah, when they've been going behind, they haven't done a great job of coming back from that. They're playing against Wycombe, good opposition in good form, doing well under Mike Duff. I haven't got anything particularly negative to say about Wycombe that would kind of be reasoning for this bet. But I've seen Vale play good opposition in good form in these games, and I know they can be competitive, and actually I think they can be the better side, particularly at 0-0 in the first half. So this time they're going to score first in the first half, they're going to score again in the second half, they're going to turn good performances into something tangible, and I feel like the fans are doing quite well to be patient, to be honest. I haven't seen that much moaning, which when a team is 23rd in the league table with less than a point per game after 15, it's kind of impressive, and I believe that's because they know they're watching a team that is decent with pretty good players all over the pitch. 17-10 to beat Wycombe at home with Sky Bet. That's my best bet of the weekend. Next.
My next best is Fleetwood Town to beat Swindon Town at 13-8. Now, this is quite stancy. I've spoken about this before, but one of my biggest beliefs currently in the EFL is that Swindon Town, I'm not going to say they're not a good team, but I don't think they're the second best team in the league. And I think that is going to, I think it started to show itself in the last few games. I think it will continue to do so. Now, I know that, like, basically, if you look at any underlying metric, they project as one of the best teams in the league. Like, their XG ratio is very, very strong. Their results are obviously very good. But this is more a case where, to my mind, they've still had the easiest fixtures of any team in the league. They still have most of the hardest games of the season to come. And when they've played against, in my perception, the better teams in the league, they normally don't win or normally get beaten. This has continued with, their defeats this season coming against Walsall, who are top of the league, Salford, who are fourth in the league, Barnet, who are 11th in the league, but I think might be the best team in the league. Or the league table might not have them as that, but they are, to my mind at least, certainly a top 3, top 4 team in terms of the way they're playing. And then Accrington, which is a noisy one, of course, they lost 4-0, but they had a man sent off very early in that game. You add Notts County to the list, who are currently third. They drew that game. So the highest placed team they've beaten are Crewe, who are 8th. They beat Crewe in the middle of Crewe's horrendous run of form. Other than that, and the Bromley result, the 2-0 Bromley win is definitely the pick. But other than that, you've got them beating 12th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 21st, 23rd, and 24th. Like, it is flat chat bullying, which in itself is a sign of a good team. Like, if you're not going to beat all of those sides if you're a bottom half team. But I still think that Swindon are going to come unstuck when the games get tougher. Now, Fleetwood in 13th may not seem like
the sort of team might be on that list of teams Swindon have beaten
for sure, but this is basically a price thing where firstly, looking at the numbers, Swindon's last 5 games, as you'd expect given the results have been poorer, their last 5 game XG ratio has them bang mid-table kind of 50%, whereas Fleetwood have a positive XG ratio. Fleetwood are a side that I still think are pretty good, and there was the defeat against Crawley last time out, but that was, again, due to a man being sent off very, very early. We can kind of put a line through that. We don't know what would have happened 11v11. Beat a Barnet team I just spoke about in the FA Cup prior to that. They have won their home games recently against Harrogate and Accrington. They beat Colchester at home a few games before that. Like, they're a side that I basically think are very, very competent. Now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Swindon do win this, and this isn't a game, when it comes to Swindon playing, I don't know, MK Dons or Grimsby, then that'll probably be where I'm all over them. But this is just a pure price thing where I don't think Swindon Town away from home at Fleetwood should be favourites for this game. I think Fleetwood should be the favourites for it. Swindon scored a 93rd minute goal to see off Tranmere last time out, which stopped them from having a 4-game winless run in the league. So, this is, I'll be shorting Swindon in terms of their promotion credentials now, and I think, their PPG will continue to track at the kind of lower rate we've seen in the last 4 games, rather than kind of bouncing back to form. And I think Fleetwood should be favourites for this. So at 13-8, I'm willing to take that chance. Okay,
we're in Goalscorer Corner. Last week, we had a winner in July. Well, we had a goal scorer. We didn't have a winner. And so I'm kind of hoping that we land on another. Going back to the more traditional staking plan, 2 1-point plays and a half-point big meaty CB. We'll start with someone that you picked last week, who scored last week. Jake X. Beasley of Burton. He's 11-4 to score at home against Blackpool for Burton. If I was asked to curate a collection of digital football-themed art, basically data visualizations for a incredibly niche and nerdy art gallery, Jake Beasley's shot map would be
unbelievable.
Probably the star of the show.
I think there's an element where Jake Beasley's shot map should be incorporated into textbooks. Should be when you start playing football and you're like getting to an age where you're, this is what you need to be doing. This is how we win games of football. I
couldn't agree more.
They're not really doing it.
I could not agree more, George. There's actually on Jake Beasley's shot map, which if you listen to this and you haven't seen it, FOTMob would be the place to go and just search for Jake Beasley and it'll be on his page. There's a shot that he took the other day against Wimbledon, George, from the sort of left-hand side of the box, which is blocked at source, which is completely ruining
Don't do that again.
Because
Jake.
almost...
Or if you can do it again, do it from the other side on the right-hand side so it's symmetrical.
Symmetry.
Yeah.
Almost everything else is close to goal between the posts. He's only got 4 goals, of which 2 are penalties. But as you very correctly highlighted last week, and a 4-1 winner was a great pick. You get yourself into those positions consistently, you're going to score goals. Do I think Burton will create chances against Blackpool? Well, Burton have been in really good goal-scoring form recently. Interestingly, I think the partnership that Beasley's developing with Tyrese Shade, who's someone who's basically changed position when he dropped out of the EFL, started playing up front for Solihull, is now playing up front for Burton with Jake Beasley. And Shade is really, really dangerous as well. But I think it's helped, if anything, take a little bit of the pressure off Beasley. And it looks like that might have helped him. Blackpool have won both league games under Everett so far, but as mentioned on the Monday pod, conceding 55 shots across 2 games, 17 of them on target against Peterborough and Cardiff. So it doesn't look like they've exactly sort of closed the gate at the back. And I think Beasley at 11-4 is still good value. I think Isaac Hutchinson of Cheltenham at 11-2, 6.5 with Sky Bet, which is the best price in the market, is excellent value. Hutchinson is... How did Cheltenham sign Hutchinson? He's played 10 games for them. He's scored 5 goals, and he's hit the woodwork 4 times.
Wow.
He could be on 7-8 goals, playing an attacking midfield role. He also scored 1 in the league and in the cup for Bristol Rovers in August. So this season, Isaac Hutchinson has scored 7 in 18 games. And this isn't just a random hot streak either. He had a season at Walsall at this level where he scored 12 league goals in 46 league games. He's like easily a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 guy. And because Cheltenham are a juicy price away at Tranmere, I think that nudges him out to 11-2. But to me, he's their biggest goal threat and probably their most likely goal scorer. I'm not quite sure on Cheltenham under Cotterill yet. He's obviously, he had an amazing first month. They've beaten at Notts in the week, home to Notts, I should say, on Monday night. I'm not quite sure what level they're going to settle at under Cotterill, but Tranmere are not the team I thought they were going to be pre-season and when they started the season. I thought they were going to be incredibly low margin, 0s and 1s. Instead, the defence is not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. According to the NTT tables on NTT20.com, they have the 3rd worst XG against over the last 10 games in League 2. That is not what I was expecting under Andy Crosby, and it is a worry for me when it comes to Tranmere because I still don't think they're good enough at the top of the pitch to mitigate against being a bad defensive side. It's only 1 clean sheet in 15 games in all comps for Tranmere, so I think Cheltenham's biggest goal threat at the moment, Isaac Hutchinson, being 11-2 is good value. So a point on that. And then half a point on Jack Sanders, the big MK Don centre-back to score any time against Salford. Sanders has 2 in 10 this season, including last time out. He has 3 in 23 if you include his half season since he joined in January. 3 in 23, and his goal-scoring record in Scotland previously was fine. I think 14-1 is a good price for a guy who's the main aerial threat for one of the best set-piece teams in the league. MK, 3rd best set-piece XG, 11 goals from 15 games from set-piece situations. And Salford, who have, interestingly, the 2nd worst XG against from set-pieces, 8.5 total, but they've only conceded 4 goals. So they might be doing something clever in terms of, giving up shots from set-pieces, but making sure they've got, defenders in front, making blocks, or they might be getting lucky. And if that's the case, I think 14-1 for Sanders is a fair anytime price. And again, best price with Sky Bet, so half a point on Jack Sanders of MK, 14-1, a full point on Isaac Hutchinson of Cheltenham, 11-2, 6.5, and 1 point on Jake X. Geesley of Burton at 11-4, 3.75 the decimal.
Yeah, I've got 2 goal scorers. I'm going to split stake on the 2 of them. One is in the game I spoke about earlier, the Grimsby Chesterfield game. Wanted to get a Grimsby player on side. And Kieran Green at 5-1 looks like the best way of doing that. He's someone who's already scored 4 goals this season. His shot location is very good for a midfield player. He is a threat from set pieces as well, which kind of goes unnoticed. I think 7 of his shots this season have been headers. Just a player who, if I'm right and Grimsby dominate this, will surely get opportunities, and at 5-1 seems massively overpriced. And then a player who's played in, I think I'm saying he's played in 15 games this season. Mm-hmm. He scored 3 goals, and they all came in the same game. In Emre Tezgel.
Nice.
He of Crewe. Now, this was the next on the list, really, was going to be putting up Crewe against Oldham, because Oldham, one of these teams that we spoke about a lot, who started the season with really good numbers and weren't getting the results. And unlike Port Vale, the numbers have massively dipped in the last few games. And I'm starting to wonder, actually, and we always say this, like, one of two things is going to happen. With Oldham, it might be the case that actually the performances are getting worse, and the perception in the market is that they are still, due effectively. Whereas Crewe have massively improved in the last couple of weeks, and that's been seen in their results. Tezgel scored 3 goals, as we mentioned, in the 3-2 win over Grimsby. In the game against Shrewsbury that Crewe won 3-1, he didn't score, but it wasn't for lack of trying, because Tezgel still had 7 shots in the game, 2 of which were on target, an XG of 1.01. The front man here up against an Oldham side who've conceded 1.7 XG in the last 5 per 90. He's 11-4, which again seems generous for a player that should, although with Omar Bogle coming off the bench and scoring last time out, I guess there's a chance Bogle comes in, but hopefully Tezgel retains his place after that hat-trick against Grimsby in the penultimate game. 11-4 seems a huge price. So Tezgel 11-4 anytime for Crewe. Kieran Green 5-1 anytime for Grimsby.
Like it. I'm going to tell you about the Eggman after you've told me what you'd be swerving if you're having an Acca this weekend.
Yeah, swerving Shrews at 5-6 at home to Newport County.
I knew it. I think Newport was my next best. Yeah. Newport 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, we've had success getting against Newport's opposition in this bit of the pod before. Shrewsbury being 5-6, they're just a really poor side still for me. Still one of the worst teams in the league. How they can be odds on, I don't really know. Underlying numbers of Newport in recent games is better than Shrewsbury's. Newport kind of continually just written off as being the worst team in the league, or the worst team in the league by a margin, I should say, and I'm just not entirely sure that's the case. So I wouldn't be touching Shrews at 5-6 at all with any part of me. So that's my Acca Swerve.
Well, that's just as well, because they're not in the Eggman. It's at 29.89 as we record, so just a touch under 29-1 with Sky Bet. It's 5 homes. It's 5 homes. Port Vale, as detailed, my nap, 17-10 at home to Wycombe. Hoping my gut health when it comes to gut instincts for betting picks is better than my actual gut health. Lincoln are in there as well. They're at home to Donny. They're around the even money mark, maybe 21-20. Doncaster's performance was better against Barnsley, as you detailed on the Monday pod. They were unfortunate to lose that game 2-1 based on how the game played out and the balance of play. But they're really struggling for goal threats at the moment. And this is very retrofitting transfer analysis, because I did not raise this at the time. But it seems fairly insane to me that they are so heavily reliant on Billy Sharp to be their number 9 when he wasn't their main striker coming up last season. The 1 or 2 others that they brought in to challenge, Brandon Hanlon being one of them, the Loney as well, who's had a shocking time, whose name escapes me as off the top of my head, haven't contributed at all. And so Sharp is pretty much having to play every minute as the number 9. And it's finding it tough to score at the level that Billy Sharp used to score at this level. So outside of him, they're struggling as well, because what was papering over Doncaster Rovers' performance cracks in the first month or 2 of the season?
Freudian slip.
The skipper, Owen Bailey.
Yes.
But those goals have dried up. Luke Molyneux is, at this level, way less prolific than he is at League 2 level, and that's the case this season, hit and miss. And those are their 3 biggest goal threats, Sharp, Molyneux, Bailey. I don't think any of them are particularly consistent right now, and that's a problem, because they've got so little else. Lincoln are rock solid, I would say, defensively in terms of their shape, particularly at home. They have a good record, 4 wins out of 7, and I expect them to win this. Leyton Orient are at home to Exeter. They are a skinny price for a team that aren't picking up that many wins this season, but this is more about Exeter's insane away record. They've played 7, they've lost 5, they've won 2, Both of those were late winners, one against Lincoln, one against Wycombe, in games where they were basically dominated. Those are the only points they've picked up. The other 5 they've lost. They've scored 3 goals in 7 away games this season, but they've only conceded 7. So, a Lincoln 1-0, 2-0 home win seems like the most likely outcome here. I think Exeter are pretty bad travellers. Grimsby to win, that's your nap, and you detailed it well.
Thank you.
We've got fish in the Eggman. Any dishes with fish and egg in them?
Kedgeree.
Kedgeree.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Anything else? Would you have...
There was a very famous, very, very famous moment on MasterChef The Professionals a few years ago where a guy cooked a cod cheek omelette that went very wrong. It's famous because it was one of the worst things anyone's ever cooked in the whole world. And fair to say Marcus and Monica couldn't believe their eyes.
Thanks. Yeah, I hate the sound of that. Grimsby to beat Chesterfield. I agree with everything that you said. And lastly, joint shortest price of the weekend, Notts to beat Harrogate at home. Notts County have 26 points from their last 12 league games. They're currently the team going the best in the league, and they have flown up the table as a result. And they are at home to a Harrogate side who have lost 8 of their last 10 league games, 6 points from 10. They also got 4 injuries in the EFL Trophy game in midweek, which led to Simon Weaver saying, I think we will have 1 outfield substitute available for our fixture against Notts on Saturday, which is preposterous. It is ridiculous for this level of football. How many outfield substitutes do you think will actually be named on the bench for Harrogate? Because I have a feeling it'll be more than the 1 that he said in the angry heat of the moment after the game.
5.
You think 5? Nice.
He'll want to just make sure there's 1, so there'll be 1, 5 and a keeper, and then 1 where they're like, we couldn't fill the bench.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Either way, they're way up against it at the moment. They're conceding so many chances, and Notts should win comfortably. So it's a 5-fold. It's 5 homes in League One. It's Port Vale, Lincoln, and Leyton Orient in League Two. It's Grimsby, and it's Notts County, and the price 29.89 with Skybet. Come on, the Eggman. Come on. Right, we're not going to do a joint bet this week, just not enough on the docket, and we don't want to sort of stretch ourselves for a correct score double or something this time round, which we've done previously in the past, so apologies for that. The BTTS 6-fold, I'm sure, will be back next week on the betting show. So, George, why don't you recap your selections?
Love to. My nap, Grimsby at even money at home to Chesterfield. Next best, Fleetwood at home to Swindon at 13-8. Goal scorers, Emre Tezgel at 11-4 for Crewe. Half a point there and half a point on Kieran Green. Zinedine Green to us. At 5-1 for Grimsby Town. And then my Acca Swerve, don't go near the Shrews of Shrewsbury. 5-6. They are at home to Newport County.
Port Vale, my nap, 17-10. They're playing at home to Wycombe. My goal scorers are 1 point on Jake Beasley, 11-4 home at Burton. Burton are at home to Bolton. No, they're not. Burton are at home to Blackpool. Isaac Hutchinson of Cheltenham to score any time at 11-2 away at Tranmere. And Jack Sanders of MK to score at 14-1, half a point anytime at home to Salford. The Eggman has 5 home teams: Port Vale, Lincoln, and Leyton Orient in League One, Notts County and Grimsby in League Two. And that is just the ticket. George and I off to Wembley this evening. If you want more from us, please make sure you listen to the England Pod's recap of our game tonight against Serbia. The team selection in particular is going to be very, very interesting. And if you don't understand why, we'll tell you on the England Pod. So thank you for that. Thanks to Skybet for sponsoring this podcast, and to the Reverters for playing us out. Go well!